Hey, tonight we're diving into one of the most fascinating journeys in the history of our planet, the story of what it was like to be the very first human on Earth. We'll time travel back nearly 6 million years to meet our earliest ancestor and experience the challenges, triumphs, and everyday struggles of becoming human. But before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Congratulations, you've just woken up in the Tugen Hills of Kenya about 6 million years ago. Your name is Orrorin, which in the local Tugen language means original man. But in the scientific world of the distant future, they'll call you Orrorin tugenensis, the first creature to take those crucial steps toward becoming human. The morning air feels different here, fresher, wilder somehow, as you stretch your arms and feel the gentle morning sunlight filtering through the trees. You notice your hands. They're not quite human as we know them today, but they're special nonetheless. Your fingers are slightly curved, perfect for grasping branches, and your thumbs, while opposable, aren't quite as versatile as those of your distant descendants who will someday read about you in science books. The good news is that you found yourself in a beautiful forest landscape with plenty of food and water nearby. The bad news? This world is unimaginably dangerous, and you're neither the strongest nor the fastest creature around. You carefully climb down from your sleeping spot in the trees. Unlike modern humans who would topple over immediately, you're still quite comfortable moving around in the branches. Your toes are more flexible than those of humans today, allowing you to grip the branches as you descend. But there's something unique about you, something that sets you apart from all the other apes in this ancient forest. When you reach the ground, you stand up on your two legs. Standing on 2 feet doesn't seem remarkable to modern humans. It's just what we do. But for you, living 6 million years ago, it's a revolutionary adaptation. No other ape spends as much time walking upright as you do. Your thigh bones, what scientists will someday call your femurs, have a special shape that makes bipedal walking more efficient. The neck of your femur is elongated and the head is angled forward, design features that would one day become standard in the human lineage. But let's be honest, your bipedalism isn't perfect. You're what future scientists will call a facultative biped. You can walk on 2 legs when it's useful, but you're not committed to it full time like your distant descendants will be. When speed is necessary, you might drop to all 4s. And when you're relaxed in the trees, you're happy to use your arms and legs together to move around, much like the orangutans that will still exist millions of years from now in the forests of Southeast Asia. The morning sun rises higher and your stomach rumbles. Time to find breakfast. You scan the landscape from your higher vantage point, another advantage of standing upright. In the distance, you can see fruit trees, and your excellent vision allows you to spot which ones are bearing ripe fruit today. Walking on 2 legs frees your hands, and that's particularly useful for carrying food. You make your way to a fig tree heavy with ripe fruit. Climbing is still natural for you, and your curved fingers and flexible feet make short work of the trunk. You gather several figs, more than you could eat right now, and climb back down. Rather than eating them all at the base of the tree where other animals might compete with you, you can carry them to a safer location thanks to your free hands. Your diet is quite varied. Your teeth tell the story of your eating habits. Future paleoanthropologists will examine them carefully. Your back molars have thicker enamel than those of other apes, allowing you to crunch through nuts and seeds. Your front teeth aren't as specialized for tearing through tough plant materials as they are in other apes. You're an omnivore, eating what's available: fruits, nuts, berries, leaves, and occasionally insects or small animals. After breakfast, you continue exploring your territory. The landscape of East Africa 6 million years ago is a mosaic of environments. There are dense forests near rivers and lakes, open woodlands on the slopes, and patches of more sparse vegetation in drier areas. You prefer the forests and woodland edges where trees provide safety, but the more open areas offer different food sources. You hear the alarm calls of monkeys in the canopy, a warning sign. Predators are nearby. Being able to stand upright gives you another advantage. You can see over tall grasses to spot danger. Your eyes scan the area, and there, in the distance, you spot it, a large cat, an ancient relative of today's leopards, moving stealthily through the grass. Unlike modern humans, you don't have sophisticated weapons. Your survival depends on awareness, quick reflexes, and knowing when to retreat to the safety of the trees. You move quietly toward a nearby forest patch, staying alert. When the cat suddenly changes direction and begins moving toward you, you make a decision that showcases your unique adaptation. You stand upright and run, not with the perfect efficiency that modern humans would achieve millions of years later, but effectively enough to reach the trees before the predator closes in. Your climbing abilities save you. Within moments, you're high in the branches, watching as the frustrated cat prowls below. This is a dance that plays out regularly in your life, being caught between terrestrial dangers and arboreal safety. As the day warms up, you find a comfortable spot in the shade of a tree with a good view of the surroundings. Life for you involves a lot of watching and waiting. Energy conservation is important, and like modern apes, you don't needlessly expend effort. You're not alone in this world. You live in a small group with others of your kind, a band of about 20 individuals. Just like modern chimpanzees and bonobos, you're a social creature. Your group provides protection, companionship, and the sharing of knowledge about where to find food and water. Your communication is limited compared to modern humans. You have no language as we know it, but you do have a rich repertoire of calls, gestures, and expressions. You can warn others of danger, indicate the location of food, express emotions from fear to contentment, and establish social hierarchies through your behaviors. The social dynamics of your group are complex. There are dominance relationships, friendships, occasional conflicts, and reconciliations. You recognize each individual and remember their behaviors. Who can be trusted, who might steal food, who is a reliable ally during conflicts with neighboring groups. Speaking of neighbouring groups, territorial disputes are part of your reality. While not as violent as some later hominins would become, your species does compete for the best territories with the most reliable food sources. These interactions help to spread your species across the landscape as smaller groups sometimes split off to find new territories. The afternoon brings a brief rainstorm. Unlike many animals that seek immediate shelter, you and your group have an interesting response to the rain. You continue foraging for a while as the rain keeps many predators at bay. Your more upright posture means less of your body surface is directly exposed to rain, an advantage your descendants will develop even further. As the rain stops, you find yourself near a small stream. You pause to drink, crouching down on your haunches. The water is cool and refreshing. After drinking, you notice something in the mud by the water's edge, tubers that the rain has partially exposed. These starchy foods are valuable sources of energy, and you dig them out with your fingers, another task made easier by your bipedal stance. By late afternoon, it's time to think about where you'll sleep tonight. Like modern chimpanzees, you don't use the same nest 2 nights in a row. This helps avoid the buildup of parasites and reduces the risk from predators that might learn your habits. You find a suitable tree with branches that fork in a way that will support your weight comfortably. Using your impressive climbing abilities, you ascend to about 15 feet off the ground, high enough to be safe from most predators. You begin breaking small branches and folding them into a rough platform. This nest-building behavior is something you share with the great apes, but it's becoming more sophisticated in your species, with better construction that creates more comfortable sleeping platforms. As the sun begins to set, most of your group has also constructed nests in nearby trees. There's safety in numbers, and sleeping in close proximity means more eyes and ears to detect danger during the night. You settle into your nest, adjusting branches to create a more comfortable depression in the center. Your curved fingers and grasping feet help you maintain your position even while sleeping, so you won't fall from your perch. The sounds of the forest change as daylight fades. New predators emerge, nocturnal hunters that pose different threats. But high in your tree, you're relatively safe. Your excellent vision, adapted for daytime activities, isn't as useful now, so you rely more on your hearing to alert you to potential dangers. As you lie in your nest, looking up at the emerging stars through gaps in the canopy, you're unaware of your place in the grand story of human evolution. You don't know that you represent a crucial transition, a creature that hasn't quite left behind its ape origins, but has already started down the path toward humanity. Your brain is larger than that of other apes relative to your body size, though still far smaller than that of modern humans. Your consciousness and awareness are sophisticated by the standards of your time, but you don't ponder existential questions or wonder about your origins. Your thinking is practical, focused on immediate survival needs and social interactions. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, your mind might revisit the day's events, the sweet taste of figs, the dangerous cat, the refreshing water, the comfortable nest you've made. There's a contentment in having found enough food, avoided dangers, and secured a safe place to rest. Your needs are simple compared to the complex desires that will drive your distant descendants. You don't know that someday, millions of years in the future, creatures who evolved from you will look back and try to understand your life, that scientists will carefully examine every fragment of bone they can find, using advanced technologies to extract every possible clue about what you were like, that they will debate endlessly about whether you were truly human or still too ape-like to deserve that designation. What you do know is that tomorrow will bring new challenges. You'll need to find food again, avoid predators again, navigate social interactions again. Your life 6 million years ago is a constant balancing act between risk and reward. Every day requires careful decisions: when to climb down from the trees, which foods to pursue, how to interact with other members of your group, where to sleep when night falls. As you fall asleep in your nest, the gentle swaying of the branches in the night breeze is soothing. The sounds of the nocturnal forest, insects chirping, occasional calls of night birds, distant roars of predators form a familiar backdrop to your rest. Your breathing slows and your mind quiets. You're not quite human yet, but you're taking the first steps, literally, on the long journey that will eventually lead to humanity. Your bipedal walking, your omnivorous diet, your larger brain, your social structures, all these are laying the groundwork for what will come. The path from you to modern humans is neither straight nor inevitable. There will be many branches in the evolutionary tree, most ending in extinction, but your adaptations contain the seeds of future success. In the darkness of prehistoric night, you sleep, unaware of your place in history. You are Orrerin tugenensis, original man, living your life according to the dictates of your nature and the pressures of your environment. You face hardships that modern humans can barely imagine. Yet, you persist. And in that persistence lies the essence of what it means to be human, the ability to adapt, to overcome, to find ways to survive and even thrive in a challenging world. The stars wheel overhead, marking the passage of time. Each night like this one, each day of foraging and socializing, each generation reproducing and raising young ones, all are small steps in the immense journey of human evolution. The path from you to modern Homo sapiens will take millions of years and countless generations, each making their own small modifications to the template you've established. Tomorrow will be another day in your life, another day of being the almost human in a world that belongs to no species but is shared by all. But for now, you rest, cradled in the branches of an ancient African tree, under stars that shine as brightly now as they will 6 million years in the future. when your descendants will look up and wonder about their origins. The first light of dawn filters through the leaves, touching your face and gently waking you. Another day begins in the Tugan Hills of ancient Kenya. You stretch carefully in your nest, mindful of the height. The night passed peacefully, with no disturbances serious enough to fully wake you. You look around and see the other members of your group also beginning to stir in their nests. Some are already climbing down from their sleeping spots, ready to begin the day's foraging. You join them, descending the tree with practiced ease. Your curved fingers and flexible feet make this vertical journey simple and safe. Once on the ground, you instinctively rise to your bipedal stance. Standing upright isn't something you think about, it's just one of the ways your body moves. When you need to cover distance across open ground, walking on two legs feels natural. When you need to move quickly, you might drop to all fours for short bursts. And when you're in the trees, you use all four limbs in various combinations to climb, swing, and navigate the complex three-dimensional environment of the forest canopy. Your bipedal walking is unique among the creatures of your time. The forest is full of monkeys that occasionally stand upright for brief moments, but none walk bipedally as consistently as you do. This adaptation is still evolving. Your legs aren't as long relative to your arms as they will be in your distant descendants. Your knees and hips can fully extend, allowing you to stand straight, but your gait isn't as energy efficient as it will become in later hominins. The morning begins with a search for water. The recent rains have filled small depressions in rocks and tree hollows, providing convenient drinking spots. You cup water in your hand and bring it to your mouth, another action made possible by your bipedal stance. Other apes would need to bend down and drink directly with their mouths, but you can carry water a short distance. As you drink, you catch your reflection in the still water. Your face is not human as we would recognize it today. Your brow is more pronounced, your jaw more protruding, your nose flatter, but your eyes hold an intelligence and awareness that separates you from other animals. Your brain, while smaller than that of modern humans, is already showing signs of expansion beyond what's typical for apes of your size. After drinking, your attention turns to food. The good news is that your environment provides a variety of options. The bad news is that finding enough calories each day requires constant attention and effort. You run your tongue over your teeth, an unconscious gesture after drinking. Your dental structure reveals much about your diet and evolutionary position. Your canines are larger than those of modern humans, but smaller than those of other apes. This reduction in canine size is one of the earliest signs of the hominin lineage. Your molars have thicker enamel than those of other apes, an adaptation for processing a varied diet that includes hard foods like nuts and seeds. Today, you decide to begin your foraging in a patch of woodland where you found tubers before. Walking on two legs allows you to see over the tall grasses, spotting any predators that might be waiting in ambush. It also frees your hands for carrying food or using simple tools. You haven't developed the sophisticated tools that later hominins will create, but you do use objects in your environment to solve problems. You might use a stick to dig for roots or to extract insects from their nests. You might use stones to crack open nuts or tough-skinned fruits. These aren't crafted tools, but this simple tool use is the foundation upon which later technological innovations will build. As you forage, you're joined by several others from your group. There's safety in numbers, more eyes to watch for danger, more individuals to ward off competitors. Your social structure isn't as complex as it will become in later human species, but it's already more sophisticated than that of most other animals. You communicate with your companions through a combination of vocalizations, gestures, and facial expressions. You don't have language as modern humans understand it, but you can convey basic information, the location of food, the presence of danger, emotional states from fear to contentment. These communication skills are crucial for maintaining group cohesion and cooperation. One of your companions makes an excited vocalization, having found a bush heavy with berries. You join in the harvest, picking the ripe berries and eating some immediately while collecting others in your cupped hand. The sweet tart flavour is refreshing, and the sugars provide quick energy. As you eat, you remain vigilant. Your position in the food chain is precarious. You're neither the largest nor the strongest creature in this ecosystem. Predators are a constant threat. The ancient African landscape is home to ancestors of modern lions, leopards, and hyenas, all of which would consider you prey. A rustling in the nearby grass sends a jolt of alertness through your group. Everyone freezes, eyes and ears focused on detecting the potential threat. After a moment, a small antelope emerges, itself wary of predators. Your group relaxes slightly, but the brief alarm has reminded everyone of the need for constant vigilance. The morning continues with this pattern of foraging and watchfulness. You move from one food source to another, never staying in one place too long. This nomadic lifestyle is necessary. Staying in a single location would quickly deplete the available food and increase vulnerability to predators that might learn your habits. By midday, the sun is high and the temperature has risen considerably. Unlike modern humans, you don't sweat profusely to cool yourself. You seek shade instead, finding a comfortable spot under a tree where you can rest during the hottest part of the day. This is a social time for your group. Individuals groom one another, removing parasites and strengthening social bonds. The grooming patterns follow the social hierarchy of the group. Dominant individuals receive more grooming than they give. As a social activity, this grooming is about more than just hygiene. It's a way of reinforcing relationships and reducing tensions within the group. Your position in the social hierarchy influences many aspects of your life. Access to preferred food sources, mating opportunities, sleeping spots. The hierarchy isn't rigid though. It can shift based on coalitions between individuals, and your own status might rise or fall depending on your health, strength, and social alliances. There are distinct physical differences between males and females in your species, what scientists call sexual dimorphism. Males are generally larger and more muscular, while females are somewhat smaller but no less capable of navigating the challenging environment. These differences are less pronounced than in some ape species, but more noticeable than they will be in modern humans. As the afternoon progresses and the temperature begins to drop, your group becomes active again. The evening foraging session is crucial. You need to consume enough calories to sustain you through the night, and you need to find suitable trees for constructing your night nests. You move deeper into the forest where fruit trees are more abundant. Walking upright through the undergrowth gives you advantages. You can see further, move more efficiently on two legs through the terrain, and keep your hands free for gathering food or using tools. You come across a fig tree that's dropping ripe fruit. It's a bonanza. Figs are packed with sugar and nutrients, but you're not the only one who's noticed this resource. A group of monkeys is already in the tree, harvesting the best fruits. This is where your bipedal adaptation proves valuable in yet another way. You can stand at the base of the tree and collect the fruits that the monkeys drop or knock down. While they feast in the canopy, you and your group gather the windfall below. It's a form of passive cooperation that benefits both species, though neither is aware of this ecological relationship. While collecting figs, you notice something interesting in the soft ground, a patch of disturbed earth where a recent rainstorm has exposed some roots. Using a stick, you dig deeper, uncovering starchy tubers that will provide substantial nutrition. Your omnivorous diet and ability to exploit various food sources are key advantages that will serve your lineage well in the coming millions of years. Your digging activity attracts attention from younger members of your group. They watch closely, learning this food-gathering technique through observation. This cultural transmission of knowledge, learning by watching others, is another trait that will become increasingly important in the hominin lineage. The afternoon wears on, and your group gradually moves toward an area with suitable trees for night nests. Along the way, you pass a small stream. Some members of your group stop to drink, while others use the opportunity to wash some of the fruits they've collected, rinsing off dirt and insects. This simple washing behaviour isn't quite tool use, but it shows a level of intelligence and problem solving that exceeds that of most animals. You understand cause and effect, that washing food in water makes it more palatable and removes unwanted elements. As you approach the stream, you walk with the characteristic gait of Orrorin tugenensis. Future paleoanthropologists will study the details of your leg bones to understand how you moved. The head of your femur, your thigh bone, is large and faces forward, an adaptation for bipedal walking. The neck of the femur is elongated and has a special internal structure with thicker bone on the underside, designed to handle the stresses of upright walking. Yet your bipedalism isn't identical to that of modern humans. Your feet still have more curved toes, better for grasping branches. Your legs aren't as long relative to your body size, and your pelvis hasn't fully adapted to the demands of birthing offspring with larger brains. That challenge will face your descendants millions of years in the future. At the stream, you pause to drink and to wash some tubers you've collected. Your reflection in the water shows a creature that exists at the boundary between two worlds. Not quite ape, not quite human. Your face has a prominent brow ridge and a somewhat protruding jaw, but it's less prognathic than that of other apes. Your canine teeth are reduced compared to other apes, but still larger than those of modern humans. As you drink, ripples suddenly spread across the water's surface. Something large is moving nearby. You freeze, then slowly raise your head to scan the area. There, partially concealed by reeds at the water's edge, is a crocodile, an ancient relative of today's Nile crocodiles. You back away slowly, alerting others in your group with a low vocalization. This predator is especially dangerous near water, where its ambush tactics are most effective. Your bipedal stance allows you to spot this threat before it can strike, giving you precious seconds to retreat to safety. The encounter with the crocodile reminds everyone of the constant dangers in this environment. The group moves away from the stream, continuing toward the area where you'll make your night nests. Along the way, you pass through a patch of grassland between forest sections. Here, your bipedal locomotion proves valuable once again. Standing upright in the tall grass gives you a better view of your surroundings. You can see over vegetation that would obscure the vision of a quadrupedal animal of similar size. This improved sightline helps you spot both potential food sources and dangers from a greater distance. The grassland is home to various herbivores, ancient relatives of today's antelopes, zebras, and other African ungulates. These grass-eaters are always alert for predators, and their behaviour provides an early warning system that benefits your group. If they suddenly flee, it's a signal that a predator may be approaching. You watch a group of ancient bovids grazing peacefully. Their continued calm feeding reassures you that no immediate danger is present. Still, you move through this open area efficiently, aware of your vulnerability away from the trees. As you walk, your gait reveals the transitional nature of your bipedalism. It's not the perfect energy-efficient stride that modern humans will develop, with their longer legs and specialized foot arches. Your walk requires more muscular effort, and you fatigue more quickly than your distant descendants will. But compared to moving on all fours, your bipedal walking allows you to cover ground more efficiently while keeping your hands free. The sun is beginning to sink lower on the horizon as your group reaches a suitable area for making night nests. The trees here are tall with many forking branches, perfect for constructing safe sleeping platforms. Before climbing, everyone takes the opportunity to forage a bit more, gathering the last food of the day. You find a bush bearing small, tough-skinned fruits. Your teeth are well adapted for this food source. Your molars with their thick enamel can crack through the hard exterior to reach the nutritious pulp inside. You eat several, the tangy flavour providing a pleasant end to the day's foraging. As twilight approaches, you select a tree and climb up to a suitable height. Using branches and foliage, you construct a night nest, a simple platform that will cradle your body during sleep. This nest-building behavior is something you share with modern great apes, a connection to your evolutionary past. From your elevated position, you can see the landscape changing as the light fades. The open areas become shadows, while the forest edges remain more distinct. In the distance, you can see the silhouettes of mountains, ancient volcanic formations that have helped shape this landscape over millions of years. These volcanoes play a crucial role in preserving your legacy. The lava flows and ash deposits they produce will create the perfect conditions for fossilization. Millions of years from now, scientists will find your bones embedded in these geological layers, and from these fragments they will begin to piece together the story of human origins. As darkness falls, the sounds of the forest change. Daytime birds go quiet, while nocturnal creatures begin their chorus. The hoots of owls, the chirping of insects, the occasional roar of a big cat, these form the soundtrack of the African night, not so different from what it will be millions of years later. You settle into your nest, finding a comfortable position. The events of the day replay in your mind: the successful foraging, the close encounter with the crocodile, the peaceful observation of the grazing herbivores. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and opportunities. But for now, rest is the priority. The stars emerge overhead, visible through gaps in the canopy. The night sky looks much as it will in the far future, though the constellations are slightly different due to the slow movement of stars over vast time periods. You don't recognize patterns in these stars or assign them meaning. That level of abstract thinking still lies in the evolutionary future. Your consciousness begins to fade as sleep approaches. Your breathing slows and your muscles relax. In your nest high above the ground, you're relatively safe from most predators. Those that can climb, like leopards, are a risk, but the height and location of your nest minimize this danger. As you drift towards sleep, you're unaware of the evolutionary journey that lies ahead. You don't know that your adaptations, bipedal walking, omnivorous diet, tool use, social living, are laying the groundwork for a lineage that will eventually dominate the planet. You're simply living each day according to your nature, responding to the pressures and opportunities of your environment. In the darkness, surrounded by the sounds of the ancient African night, you sleep. Your dreams, if you have them, are probably simple. Replays of daily activities, emotional responses to events, perhaps preparations for future challenges. Your consciousness is sophisticated for your time, but lacks the complex layers of abstraction and self-awareness that will characterize your distant descendants. Tomorrow will bring another day of foraging, avoiding predators, and navigating social interactions. The eternal cycle of life for Ororuntuganensis, the original man who stands at the very beginning of the human story. Morning arrives with a chorus of birds announcing the new day. You awaken in your nest high in the safety of the tree branches. The air feels different today, heavier, more humid. Dark clouds gather on the horizon, suggesting rain will come later. Weather patterns in this ancient East African landscape are seasonal, with wet and dry periods that shape the behavior of all living creatures. As you climb down from your night nest, a light drizzle begins to fall. The good news is that rain often keeps larger predators less active. The bad news is that finding dry food becomes more challenging, and moving through wet vegetation soaks your body hair, making you feel heavier and colder. You pause halfway down the tree, sheltering under a thick branch as the rain intensifies briefly. Your bipedal adaptation isn't just useful for walking, it also helps in situations like this. Standing upright under the branch, you can use your free hands to groom your wet fur, squeezing out excess moisture. Your ancestors who walked on all fours wouldn't have this advantage. The internal structure of your femur, that thigh bone that future scientists will examine so carefully, reveals the story of your bipedalism. Inside the bone, the cortical layer, the dense outer part, is thicker on the underside of the femoral neck. This isn't visible on the outside, but this hidden feature helps the bone withstand the stresses of walking upright. It's a signature of bipedal movement that will help future paleoanthropologists understand your place in the human story. The rain eases to a gentle patter and you continue your descent. On the ground, you rise to your characteristic bipedal stance. Your feet are different from those of modern humans. Your big toe is still somewhat divergent, useful for grasping branches when climbing, but when you walk, your feet function effectively for bipedal locomotion, with the beginnings of the arch structure that will become more pronounced in later hominins. Today's first priority is finding food, made more urgent by the rain. Wet conditions make some food sources more accessible. Earthworms come to the surface, snails become more active, and certain plants become easier to pull from the softened ground. Your omnivorous diet and adaptable foraging strategies are among your greatest strengths. You move through the wet forest, your eyes scanning constantly for food and danger. Your bipedal stance keeps your head higher than it would be if you walked on all fours, giving you better visibility in the vegetation. You spot a fallen tree that's been decomposing for some time, a potential goldmine for grubs and insects. Using a stick as a simple tool, you poke and pry at the rotting wood. This basic tool use doesn't involve crafting or modifying objects, but it's still a significant cognitive step beyond what most animals can do. You're using an object from your environment to solve a problem, accessing food that would otherwise be hard to reach. Your efforts are rewarded when the stick dislodges part of the bark, revealing a colony of termites. These insects are a valuable protein source. Using your fingers, you extract several of them and pop them into your mouth. The taste is earthy and slightly nutty, with a pleasant crunch. Modern humans might find this unappetizing, but to you, it's a nutritious snack. As you forage, you're joined by others from your group who have also descended from their night nests. There's a loose hierarchy in your social structure, and when resources are concentrated, like this termite-rich log, access follows this hierarchy. More dominant individuals get priority, while others wait their turn or seek alternative food sources. This social complexity is another hallmark of your species. You're not just responding to immediate stimuli, you're navigating a sophisticated web of relationships. You recognize each individual in your group, remember their past behaviors, and adjust your own actions accordingly. This social intelligence will become increasingly important as the hominin lineage evolves. The rain has stopped completely now, but the forest remains wet. Droplets fall from leaves overhead as the breeze stirs the branches. You move away from the log after having your fill of termites, looking for more substantial food. Fruits, nuts, tubers. These will provide the calories you need for the day's activities. You come across a patch of small, starchy roots that the rain has made easier to extract from the ground. Using your fingers and occasionally your teeth, you pull several from the soil, brushing off the dirt before eating them. They're fibrous and not particularly flavorful, but they provide valuable carbohydrates and help fill your stomach. As you forage, you remain alert for sounds or movements that might indicate danger. The good news about your evolutionary position is that you're smarter and more adaptable than most animals. The bad news is that you're neither the strongest nor the fastest creature in this ecosystem, and many predators would see you as potential prey. The most dangerous predators in your world are the big cats, ancient relatives of today's lions and leopards. They're ambush hunters, using stealth and surprise to capture their prey. Your upright posture helps you spot them from a greater distance, and your social group provides multiple sets of eyes and ears to detect threats. there are other dangers too. Hyena ancestors roam in packs, capable of taking down prey much larger than themselves. Ancient crocodiles lurk near water sources, perfectly evolved ambush predators that can remain hidden until the last moment. Snakes, some venomous, hide in the underbrush or coil on low branches, and there are competitors, other primates and early hominins that might contest access to the best food sources or territories. Your survival in this challenging environment depends on a combination of factors: intelligence, adaptability, social cooperation, and your unique physical adaptations, particularly bipedalism. Walking upright isn't just about locomotion, it's a key element in your species' survival strategy. By midday, the sun has broken through the clouds, creating a steamy warmth as water evaporates from the vegetation. You find a sunny spot and take some time to groom yourself, removing parasites and untangling your body hair. This isn't just about hygiene, it's also about thermoregulation. Wet, matted fur doesn't insulate effectively, so keeping it clean and fluffy helps maintain your body temperature. Unlike modern humans, you don't have sweat glands distributed across your entire body. Your cooling system is less efficient, making you more vulnerable to overheating. This is one reason why you and your group tend to rest during the hottest part of the day, becoming more active in the cooler morning and evening hours. As you groom, you observe the activities of other creatures in the forest. A group of monkeys moves through the canopy overhead, their chattering and branch shaking revealing their position. Birds of various species flit between trees, some hunting insects disturbed by the monkey's passage. A pair of small antelope browse cautiously at the forest edge, ready to flee at the first sign of danger. This awareness of other species and their behaviours is part of your ecological intelligence. You know which animals are threats, which are potential competitors for food, and which are harmless or even useful as warning systems. This knowledge isn't taught or learned consciously. It's acquired through observation and experience, becoming an intuitive part of how you navigate your world. After resting, you and several others from your group move toward a nearby stream. Water is essential, and in this landscape it's found in rivers, streams, lakes, and seasonal ponds. The recent rain will have replenished water sources and possibly created new temporary pools. Approaching water always requires caution. Predators know that prey animals must drink, so water sources are prime hunting locations. Your group moves carefully, scanning for any signs of danger before approaching the stream. The water is clear and cool, refreshing after the humid warmth of the day. Your bipedal stance again proves useful. You can wade into shallow water while keeping your head well above the surface, an advantage when crossing streams or foraging in marshy areas. Some food sources like certain aquatic plants with edible roots are more accessible to a creature that can stand upright in shallow water. After drinking and cooling off, your group begins moving again, heading toward an area of mixed woodland and more open terrain. This ecotone, the boundary between different habitat types, often offers the greatest diversity of food sources. Forest edges provide fruits and nuts, while more open areas might have tubers, seeds, and different insect species. Your bipedal locomotion is particularly advantageous in this varied landscape. In the forest, you can reach up to lower branches while standing on the ground. In more open areas, you can see over tall grasses to spot both food resources and potential threats. As you walk, your gait reveals the evolutionary compromise that is Aurorin tuganensis. You're bipedal, yes, but your proportions aren't yet fully adapted to this mode of locomotion. Your arms are still relatively long compared to later hominins, and your legs haven't achieved the length and structural adaptations that will characterize modern humans. Your walking requires more energy than that of your distant descendants, but it's still more efficient for medium-distance travel than moving on all fours would be. You reach a small clearing where a fruit-bearing tree has dropped its bounty on the ground. The fruits are tough-skinned but contain sweet, nutritious pulp inside. Using a stone, you crack open several of them, revealing the bright interior. This action, using a stone as a tool without modifying it, is what future anthropologists will call unmodified lithic technology. It's not stone tool making yet, but it's a precursor to that crucial human technology. As you eat, you notice movement at the forest edge. A female from your group is approaching with a small infant clinging to her. Reproduction and child rearing in your species share characteristics with both apes and later hominins. Infants are born relatively developed compared to modern humans, capable of clinging to their mothers from birth, but they still require extended care and protection, learning essential skills through observation and practice over several years. The presence of infants affects group dynamics and movement patterns. Groups with young travel more slowly and may avoid riskier food-gathering strategies, but the extended childhood of your species also allows for more learning and the development of more complex skills, a pattern that will become increasingly important in hominin evolution. The afternoon continues with more foraging, social interaction, and vigilant awareness of the surroundings. Your group moves through the landscape, never staying in one place too long. This nomadic lifestyle is necessary for a species that doesn't cultivate food or store resources for future use. You go where the food is, when it's available, following the ancient rhythms of seasonal abundance and scarcity. As the day begins to wane, your attention turns to finding suitable trees for night nests. Security is the primary consideration. Trees that are difficult for predators to climb, with branches strong enough to support your weight but high enough to be safe from ground predators. Before climbing, you gather a few more fruits to eat in your nest. Carrying food is another activity made possible by your bipedal adaptation. With hands free, you can transport resources from where they're found to where they can be safely consumed, an advantage that few other animals possess. As you select a tree and begin to climb, your body reveals its dual adaptation for both arboreal and terrestrial life. Your curved fingers and flexible feet make climbing natural and efficient. Your arms are strong and capable of supporting your body weight as you move through the canopy. Yet, your leg bones show the unmistakable signs of bipedal walking. The femoral head size and orientation, the reinforced internal structure of the femoral neck, the beginnings of the bowl-shaped pelvis that will become more pronounced in later hominins. You are, in essence, a transitional form, a creature adapted for both tree life and ground dwelling. This versatility is a key to your success in an environment that includes both forested areas and more open terrain. From your vantage point in the tree, you watch as the sun begins to set. The landscape is transformed by the golden light of late afternoon. From this height, you can see the diversity of the ancient East African environment. Forests near water sources, more open woodlands on slopes, grasslands in drier areas. This mosaic of habitats provides a variety of food sources and challenges, driving the adaptations that will eventually lead to modern humans. Your attention is suddenly drawn to movement in the distance. A group of large predators, ancient relatives of modern lions, is moving through the open terrain, heading toward a water source. They're too far away to pose an immediate threat, but their presence reinforces the constant danger that shapes your existence. These predators, however, may have played a role in driving the evolution of your bipedal locomotion, the ability to see over tall grass, to spot predators from a distance, to carry food to safer locations for consumption, to use hands for wielding defensive tools or throwing objects. All these advantages of bipedalism contribute to survival in a predator-rich environment. As twilight deepens, you begin constructing your night nest. This isn't a simple matter of finding a comfortable spot to lie down. It's an architectural process that demonstrates considerable intelligence and planning. You break and bend branches to create a platform, weaving them together for stability. You add softer vegetation for comfort. The completed nest is sturdy, secure, and concealed enough to avoid attracting predators' attention. Nest building is a behavior you share with the great apes, a connection to your evolutionary past, but your nests show adaptations specific to your species. They're often constructed higher, with more attention to security features reflecting the particular pressures of your environment. As darkness falls, you settle into your nest, your days foraging having provided enough nutrition to sustain you through the night. Below, in the gathering darkness, the forest comes alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, the hoots of owls, the chirps of insects, the occasional roar of a big cat or laugh of a hyena. These sounds might be alarming to modern humans, but to you they're the familiar soundtrack of the African night. From your safe perch, you look out at the stars emerging in the clear night sky. The patterns they form are the same ones that your distant descendants will one day map into constellations, use for navigation, and weave into their mythologies. But for you, they're simply points of light in the darkness, neither understood nor named. As sleep approaches, your mind quiets. You don't contemplate your place in the universe or wonder about your origins. Your consciousness, while sophisticated compared to most animals, lacks the layers of abstraction and self-reflection that will characterize later humans. Your awareness is focused on the immediate and practical: food, safety, social relationships, reproduction. Yet in your brain, slightly larger relative to body size than that of other apes, lie the foundations for what will come. The neural capacities that allow you to use simple tools, navigate complex social structures, communicate with your group, and adapt to various environments, contain the seeds of the advanced cognitive abilities that will one day lead to language, art, science, and civilization. As you drift into sleep, cradled in your nest high above the forest floor, you are, unknowingly, a crucial link in the chain of human evolution. Your species, Ororhyntugenensis, with its bipedal locomotion, omnivorous diet, and social complexity, represents one of the earliest steps on the long path that will eventually lead to modern Homo sapiens. The adaptations that allow you to survive in the challenging environment of ancient East Africa, particularly your bipedal stance, will prove remarkably successful. Over millions of years, they will be refined and elaborated upon by natural selection, producing a lineage of increasingly sophisticated hominins. Most of these evolutionary experiments will end in extinction, but one branch will continue, eventually giving rise to the species that will transform the planet like no other. But all of that lies in the unimaginably distant future. For now, you sleep, your body recovering from the day's activities, preparing for the challenges of tomorrow. Your existence is focused on the eternal present, finding food, avoiding danger, maintaining social bonds, reproducing. The grand narrative of human evolution continues through you, one day at a time, one generation at a time, in the endless process of adaptation and survival. The night deepens around your sleeping form, the stars wheel overhead, and the ancient African landscape continues its slow geological transformation. Volcanic activity in the region is gradually creating the conditions that will preserve traces of your existence. Bones that will fossilize in sedimentary layers, protected by overlying volcanic deposits, waiting to be discovered 6 million years in the future by curious descendants who will piece together the story of their origins from these fragile remains. The night passes peacefully, and dawn once again brings a new day to the ancient Kenyan landscape. The air this morning is clear and cool, with no sign of yesterday's rain. As sunlight filters through the leaves, you stir in your nest, gradually awakening to the sounds of the forest. Your sleep has been deep and restorative. The night nest you constructed served its purpose well, keeping you safely elevated above ground predators and comfortable enough for uninterrupted rest. This ability to create secure sleeping places is one of the advantages that separates you from many other animals in your environment. As you become fully awake, your first sensation is hunger. Digestion has emptied your stomach overnight, and finding food will be your primary motivation for the day ahead, unlike modern humans who might plan meals days in advance or store food for future use. Your relationship with food is immediate and constant. Eat when you find it, because you never know when the next meal will come. You descend from your night nest with practiced ease, your curved fingers and flexible feet making the vertical journey simple and safe. Once on the ground, you rise to your bipedal stance. This morning, you're alone. The other members of your group have descended from their nests earlier or built them in different trees. Being temporarily separated from your group isn't unusual. The social structure of Orrorin tugenensis is looser than what will evolve in later hominin species. Your groups form what scientists would call a fission-fusion society, where individuals come together and separate throughout the day depending on circumstances. This flexible social organization allows for more efficient foraging when food is scattered and better defense when predators threaten. You begin walking through the forest, your bipedal gait now fully awake and coordinated. With each step, the unique biomechanics of your species are displayed. The extended knee joint, the angled femur, the beginnings of the arched foot. These features aren't as developed as they will be in later hominins, but they already show clear adaptations for upright walking. The internal structure of your femur, invisible but crucial, bears the telltale signs of bipedalism. The cortical bone on the underside of the femoral neck is thicker than on top, a response to the stresses of walking upright. This hidden feature will be one of the key pieces of evidence that future paleoanthropologists use to establish your place in the human family tree. As you walk, you scan the environment for both food and potential danger. Your eyes, forward-facing with stereoscopic vision, give you excellent depth perception, useful for both navigating through complex forest environments and judging distances when using tools. Your color vision, superior to that of many mammals, helps you identify ripe fruits and other edible plants. Your first find of the morning is a patch of berries growing on low bushes. You gather several handfuls, eating as you pick. The sweet tart flavour is pleasant, and the sugars provide quick energy to start your day. But berries alone won't sustain you. They're mostly water and quick-burning carbohydrates. You'll need more substantial food as the day progresses. As you forage, you're aware of the different strategies employed by your species. One of the advantages of bipedalism is that it allows for what scientists will later call systematic foraging, the ability to efficiently harvest food from scattered sources and carry it either for immediate consumption in a safer location or to share with others in your group. This gathering behaviour, made possible by your free hands and upright stance, is an early version of what will become a crucial hominin adaptation. Future species will elaborate on this basic pattern, developing containers, tools for harvesting, methods of food processing, and eventually agriculture, all building on the foundation of bipedalism and free hands that you represent. After finishing the berries, you continue your search for food. Your omnivorous diet is an advantage in this environment. You can eat a wide variety of foods, adapting to what's available in different seasons and locations. This dietary flexibility will prove to be one of the most successful adaptations in the hominin lineage, allowing your descendants to spread beyond Africa to virtually every environment on Earth. Your teeth tell the story of your varied diet. Unlike the specialized dentition of many animals, your teeth are generalized, adapted for processing many different types of food. Your molars have thicker enamel than those of other apes, better for grinding tough plant foods. Your canines are reduced compared to other apes, but still larger than those of modern humans, reflecting a transition in social structure and feeding behavior. As you move through the forest, you come across a fallen tree that has been dead for some time. The decaying wood is home to various insect larvae, a rich protein source. You use a stick to pry apart the rotting wood, exposing the grubs inside. This simple tool use doesn't involve crafting or modifying the stick, but it does show problem-solving intelligence, using an object from the environment to access food that would otherwise be difficult to reach. While you're focused on extracting the larvae, a sound catches your attention, the soft footfall of something large moving nearby. You freeze, all senses alert. Through the vegetation you glimpse a flash of spotted coat, a leopard-like predator, one of the most dangerous animals in your environment. This is a critical moment. Unlike most prey animals, you don't immediately flee. That would trigger the predator's chase instinct, and you can't outrun a big cat. Instead, you slowly back away, looking for the nearest climbable tree. Your bipedal stance gives you an advantage here. You can see over lower vegetation to track the predator's movement, while also scanning for escape routes. The predator hasn't seen you yet, focused on something else in the undergrowth. Moving as quietly as possible, you reach a tree with low branches and quickly climb to safety. From your elevated position, you can now see the predator clearly as it moves through the area where you were foraging. It's not actively hunting, just passing through, but the encounter is a stark reminder of your vulnerable position in the food chain. After the predator moves on, you remain in the tree for a while, using the opportunity to search for fruit in the canopy. Your climbing abilities are excellent, another reminder that while you're adapted for bipedal walking, you're still very much at home in the trees. Your curved fingers and flexible feet make moving through the branches efficient and secure. You find several fruits high in the canopy, eating them where they grow rather than carrying them down. The juicy pulp helps quench your thirst as well as providing nutrition. Staying hydrated is a constant concern in this environment, especially during drier seasons when water sources become limited. After eating your fill of fruit, you descend from the tree and continue your foraging journey. By now the sun is higher in the sky and the day has warmed considerably. You find a shady spot to rest during the hottest part of the day, a behavior pattern shared by many animals in this environment. While resting, you notice other members of your group nearby. They've also found shade and are engaged in various activities, some grooming each other, some dozing, some keeping watch. You join them, your social nature drawing you back to the group after your solitary morning foraging. The social dynamics of your species are complex. There's a dominance hierarchy, but it's not rigid or absolute. Relationships are maintained through grooming, food sharing, and other cooperative behaviors. Conflicts are usually resolved through displays rather than actual fighting, although serious competition over resources or mates can sometimes turn violent. One of the older females in the group approaches you, making a soft vocalization that signals friendly intent. She begins grooming your back and shoulders, searching for parasites and untangling your body hair. This grooming serves multiple purposes: hygiene, parasite control, and social bonding. You relax under her ministrations, the tension from your predator encounter gradually easing. Grooming is one of the primary ways social bonds are maintained in your group. It's a form of currency in your social economy, given and received, creating obligations and alliances. Those who groom others can expect to be groomed in return, and individuals who fail to reciprocate may find themselves with fewer allies when conflicts arise. After being groomed, you return the favour, carefully searching through the female's hair for ticks and other parasites. Your hands, freed from locomotor duties by your bipedal adaptation, are perfect for this fine manipulation. The precision grip that allows you to pick small insects from another's fur is the same adaptation that will eventually enable your descendants to create sophisticated tools, art, and technology. As the afternoon progresses and the temperature begins to drop, your group becomes more active again. There's still more foraging to be done before nightfall, and water sources need to be visited. The group moves together now, heading toward a small stream about half a kilometre away. Walking in a group offers protection, more eyes to spot danger, more individuals to deter predators. Your bipedal locomotion allows you to cover this distance relatively efficiently, though not with the same energy economy that modern humans will eventually develop. Your proportions: arms still relatively long compared to legs, and the details of your hip, knee and ankle structure make walking more energetically costly for you than it will be for later hominins. Still, bipedalism offers significant advantages for your species. It frees your hands for carrying food, using tools, or signalling to others in your group. It allows you to see over tall grass and vegetation, spotting both food sources and potential dangers from a greater distance. And it helps you regulate body temperature by exposing less surface area to direct sunlight, an important consideration in the tropical environment you inhabit. Reaching the stream, everyone drinks deeply. Water is life in this environment, and staying hydrated is essential. After drinking, some members of your group take the opportunity to wash foods they've collected, rinsing off dirt and insects from fruits and tubers. This simple food processing behavior doesn't qualify as tool use, but it does demonstrate a level of intelligence and cause and effect understanding that exceeds that of most animals. While at the stream, you notice something interesting in the soft mud of the bank. Footprints. Some are clearly from familiar animals, antelope, boar, various birds, but some appear to be from members of your own species, perhaps from yesterday or earlier today. You don't consciously recognize these as footprints in the abstract sense that modern humans would, but you do register them as signs of recent presence, adding to your mental map of who moves through this territory and when. Millions of years from now, similar footprints left by later hominins will be preserved in volcanic ash at a place called Laetoli, providing future scientists with direct evidence of bipedal walking in your evolutionary descendants. Your own footprints here by the stream will not be preserved. The next rain will wash them away, but they are part of the same evolutionary story. As your group moves away from the stream, heading toward an area of mixed woodland and grassland, you spot a broken branch with several termite holes. Using a long grass stem, you probe one of the holes, then withdraw it to find termites clinging to the stem. This fishing technique, a more sophisticated form of tool use than simply using found objects, shows the cognitive capabilities of your species. This termite fishing behavior is significant because it involves modifying an object from the environment, selecting and possibly trimming the grass stem for a specific purpose. It's not as complex as the tool manufacture that will characterize later hominins, but it does demonstrate planning, fine motor control, and understanding of cause and effect. Cognitive abilities that exceed those of most non-human animals. The rest of the afternoon is spent in continued foraging, now focusing on more substantial foods that will sustain you through the night. You find a patch of starchy roots that require some effort to dig up but provide valuable calories. Using both hands and occasionally a digging stick, you extract several of these roots, sharing some with younger or older group members who might struggle to obtain them independently. This food-sharing behavior is another important aspect of your species' social structure. While not as formalized or extensive as it will become in later hominins, the sharing of food helps maintain group cohesion and ensures that all members have access to nutrition. It's particularly important for those who are too young, too old, or temporarily unable, due to injury or illness, to forage effectively for themselves. As the day begins to wane, your group gradually moves toward an area with suitable trees for night nests. The western sky is painted with the orange and gold of sunset, and the air is cooling rapidly, a reminder of the temperature fluctuations that characterize this environment. Nights can be surprisingly cool, even in equatorial regions, especially during certain seasons. Before climbing to build your night nest, you search for one more meal, something to sustain you through the night. You find a bush bearing small hard fruits with edible seeds inside. Your molars, with their thick enamel, are perfect for cracking these open, accessing the nutritious kernels within. You eat several, the rich, slightly nutty taste satisfying your hunger. With darkness approaching, you select a tall tree with many branching limbs, ideal for nest construction. You climb efficiently, your curved fingers and flexible feet making the ascent easy despite your fatigue from the day's activities. At a suitable height, about 5 meters above the ground, you begin breaking and bending branches to create a platform. Nest construction is a sophisticated behavior that involves planning, manipulation of materials, and understanding of structural principles. Your nest isn't simply a pile of branches, it's a carefully constructed platform with a depression in the center for your body, strong enough to support your weight throughout the night, and concealed enough to avoid attracting predators' attention. This nest-building ability is something you share with the great apes, a connection to your evolutionary past, but your nests show specific adaptations related to your more terrestrial lifestyle and the particular predators in your environment. They're often higher, more robustly constructed, and better concealed than those of more fully arboreal apes. As you finish your nest and settle in for the night, other members of your group are doing the same in nearby trees. There's security in numbers. Even when sleeping, multiple individuals can alert the group if danger approaches. The distribution of nests isn't random. Dominant individuals often claim the most secure positions, while those lower in the hierarchy make do with less optimal locations. Night falls fully, transforming the landscape. Your daytime visual acuity gives way to other senses. Hearing becomes paramount, with every snap of a twig or rustle of leaves evaluated as a potential threat. Your sense of smell, while not as acute as that of many predators, helps you detect some dangers even in darkness. From your elevated position, you watch as nocturnal life emerges. The eyes of small mammals reflect momentary gleams of moonlight. Insects create a constant background chorus. Occasionally, the calls of night birds or the distant roar of a predator pierce the darkness. These sounds are part of the natural rhythm of your world, sometimes concerning but mostly familiar. As your body relaxes towards sleep, your mind processes the day's events. This isn't the abstract thinking or self-reflection that will characterize modern humans, but it is a form of cognitive processing that helps consolidate memories, particularly those related to food sources, dangers, and social interactions. Your brain, while smaller than that of modern humans, is already showing the expansion that will become a hallmark of the hominin lineage. Compared to other apes of similar body size, your brain is slightly larger, particularly in areas related to spatial awareness, manual dexterity, and social cognition, all adaptations that support your bipedal, tool-using, socially complex lifestyle. The stars emerge overhead, visible through gaps in the canopy. The night sky is brilliant in this era, before artificial light, with the Milky Way forming a glowing river across the darkness. You perceive this beauty in a direct, sensory way, without the layers of meaning and mythology that later humans will impose on these celestial patterns. As sleep approaches, your consciousness narrows, focusing on the immediate, the comfort of your nest, the softness of the breeze, the distant sounds of the night forest. You don't contemplate your place in the universe or worry about tomorrow beyond its most immediate concerns. Your awareness, while sophisticated by the standards of your time, lacks the abstract dimensions that will evolve in later hominin species. Yet in your brain and body are the seeds of what will come. Your bipedal locomotion, omnivorous diet, manual dexterity, social complexity, and cognitive flexibility contain the foundations upon which natural selection will build. Over millions of years, these basic adaptations will be refined and elaborated, producing a lineage of increasingly sophisticated hominins, culminating in Homo sapiens, a species that will transform the planet in ways unimaginable to you. But all of that lies in the unthinkably distant future. For now, you sleep, your body recovering from the day's exertions, preparing for tomorrow's challenges. Your existence is focused on the eternal present, finding food, avoiding danger, maintaining social bonds, reproducing. The grand narrative of human evolution continues through you, one day at a time, one generation at a time, in the endless process of adaptation and survival. As you drift into deeper sleep, your breathing becomes slow and regular. Your mind, freed from the constant vigilance of waking hours, might dream, perhaps replaying significant events from the day, processing emotions, or preparing responses to potential future scenarios. These dreams aren't verbalized or abstract, they're primarily sensory and emotional, reflecting the immediate, concrete nature of your consciousness. In your sleeping form, high in the branches of an ancient African tree, lies the future of humanity, not as a destiny or predetermined outcome, but as a potential waiting to be realized through the slow, undirected process of natural selection, acting on the variations that arise in each generation. Your adaptations, particularly your bipedal locomotion, represent a successful evolutionary experiment, one that will prove remarkably fruitful in the millennia to come. The night deepens around you, the stars wheel overhead, and the ancient landscape continues its gradual transformation. Geological processes, volcanism, erosion, sedimentation, are slowly creating the conditions that will preserve traces of your existence. Bones that find their way into sedimentary layers protected by overlying volcanic deposits will eventually fossilize, becoming the precious fragments from which future scientists will reconstruct the earliest chapters of the human story. Morning light gradually filters through the leaves, gently touching your face with warmth. Another day begins in the ancient landscape of the Tugen Hills. You awaken slowly, your body and mind transitioning from the deep rest of night to the alert awareness needed for survival. The sounds of the forest, bird calls, rustling leaves, distant animal movements form a familiar backdrop to your emergence into consciousness. As you stretch in your night nest, your joints and muscles feel the effects of yesterday's activities. Your body bears the marks of your evolutionary position, not quite human as we would recognize today, not quite ape as existed before. You are Orrorin tugenensis, a creature of transition, embodying adaptations that represent a crucial experiment in the story of human evolution. You descend from your night nest with practiced movements, your curved fingers and flexible feet finding secure holds on the trunk and branches. On the ground, you rise to your characteristic bipedal stance. This morning ritual, climbing down from safety and assuming the upright posture that defines your lineage, is repeated across the forest as others from your group also begin their day. Today, your group seems more cohesive than yesterday. Rather than dispersing for solitary foraging, everyone is staying closer together. This behavioral flexibility, sometimes spreading out, sometimes clustering, is an adaptive response to changing conditions. Perhaps there were predator sounds during the night, or perhaps it's simply the subtle social currents that flow through your group, temporarily drawing members closer together. A female with a young infant clings to her appears at the edge of the gathering. Her presence changes the group's dynamics subtly. Mothers with young receive special consideration, often given access to better food sources and offered more protection. This caregiving behavior, extended beyond immediate family bonds, is a foundation for the increasingly cooperative social structures that will evolve in later hominins. The infant, only a few months old, clings to its mother's fur with remarkable strength. Unlike the helpless newborns of modern humans, your species' infants are born more developed, capable of holding on during travel. Still, they require extended care and protection, creating a lengthy period of dependency during which they learn essential survival skills through observation and imitation. This extended childhood, though not as prolonged as it will become in later human species, is a key adaptation in your lineage. It allows for more learning, more brain development after birth, and more transmission of knowledge between generations. The seeds of cultural learning, which will become the hallmark of later humans, are already present in your species' child-rearing practices. Your attention turns to the day's first priority: finding food. Hunger is a constant companion in your world, where no meal is guaranteed and energy expenditure is continuous. Your bipedal adaptation helps in this eternal quest for nutrition, allowing you to see farther, travel more efficiently, and carry gathered foods to safer locations for consumption or sharing. This morning, the group moves together toward a grove of fruit-bearing trees that were spotted the previous day. Walking on two legs through the mixture of forest and more open terrain, you maintain a steady pace. Your gait isn't the perfect, energy-efficient stride that modern humans will develop, but it's effective for your needs and environment. The biomechanics of your walking reveal the transitional nature of your species. Your femur, that crucial thigh bone, has a head that's larger and more forward-facing than in non-bipedal apes. The neck of the femur is elongated and internally structured to handle the stresses of upright walking. Your pelvis is beginning to show the bowl-like shape that will become more pronounced in later hominins. Your foot, while still retaining some grasping ability, is developing the rigidity and arch structure needed for effective terrestrial locomotion. These anatomical features hidden within your body tell the story of your evolutionary position. You are neither fully committed to terrestrial life like your distant descendants will be, nor fully arboreal like your ancestors were. You exist at the boundary between these worlds, combining adaptations for both tree climbing and ground walking in a successful compromise. Upon reaching the fruit grove, the group disperses slightly, each individual finding position under different trees. Above, ripe fruits hang tantalizingly, their bright colours advertising their nutritional bounty. Some are within reach from the ground for an upright hominin. For others, climbing is necessary. You select a tree with low-hanging fruit and reach up, another activity made possible by your bipedal stance. Standing on 2 feet, you can reach higher than you could on all fours, accessing food sources that might be unavailable to strictly quadrupedal animals of similar size. As you gather fruits, you notice a younger male struggling to reach the ones on his tree. In a display of the social cooperation that characterizes your species, you share some of your gathered bounty with him. This sharing behavior, while not as formalized or extensive as it will become in later humans, helps maintain group cohesion and ensures that all members have access to nutrition. The food sharing also reinforces social bonds and establishes reciprocal obligations. By sharing today, you increase the likelihood that others will share with you when you're in need. This simple exchange represents the beginnings of the complex social economies that will develop in later human societies. While eating, you remain vigilant. Your position in the food chain is precarious. You're neither at the top nor the bottom, but somewhere in the vulnerable middle. Predators are a constant threat, and your survival depends on detecting danger before it detects you. Your bipedal stance helps with this vital awareness, keeping your head higher than it would be on all fours and allowing you to see over vegetation that might conceal approaching threats. Your forward-facing eyes, inherited from your primate ancestors, give you excellent depth perception and the ability to track moving objects, whether potential food or potential danger. After the morning's feeding, the group moves toward a nearby water source. Water is life in this environment, and staying hydrated is essential. especially as the day warms. The path to the water crosses a section of more open terrain where the protection of dense forest gives way to scattered trees and taller grasses. In this more exposed setting, your bipedalism offers another advantage: heat management. Standing upright reduces the amount of your body surface directly exposed to the tropical sun. This, combined with your gradually decreasing body hair compared to more arboreal apes, helps you regulate temperature during active daylight hours. At the water source, a small stream fed by seasonal rains, everyone drinks deeply. Some members of your group take the opportunity to wash fruits they've collected, while others cool themselves by wading into shallow sections. This use of water for purposes beyond drinking shows a level of environmental interaction and problem solving that exceeds that of most animals. While at the stream, you notice tracks in the soft mud, evidence that other animals have recently visited this water source. Your awareness of these signs isn't abstract or conceptual, it's a direct, practical recognition that helps you assess potential threats or opportunities. If predator tracks are fresh, extra vigilance is warranted. If tracks from prey animals are abundant, it might indicate good hunting or scavenging opportunities nearby. The group spends the hottest part of the day in the shade near the water. This period of relative inactivity is not wasted. It's filled with social interaction, grooming, rest, and monitoring of the surroundings. Energy conservation is important in an environment where food supplies are unpredictable and every calorie counts. During this rest period, you observe a female from your group gathering long grass stems. With careful manipulation, she's crafting what appears to be a simple tool, a probe for extracting insects from their nests or burrows. This tool-making behavior, while primitive compared to what will come later, shows planning, fine motor control, and understanding of material properties. The ability to create and use tools, even simple ones, is facilitated by your bipedal adaptation. With hands freed from locomotor duties, you can manipulate objects with a precision that quadrupedal animals cannot match. This manual dexterity, combined with your growing cognitive capabilities, lays the groundwork for the technological innovations that will characterize the hominin lineage. As the afternoon progresses and the temperature begins to drop, the group becomes more active again. There's still foraging to be done before nightfall, and suitable trees for night nests need to be located. But today, there's an additional factor influencing the group's movement: the presence of unfamiliar individuals detected at the periphery of your territory. Territorial behavior in your species isn't as rigid or aggressive as it will become in some later hominins, but there are boundaries, areas that your group considers its own and defends against encroachment. These boundaries aren't marked physically. They exist in the collective knowledge of the group, defined by landmark features and regular patrol patterns. The detection of outsiders triggers a specific response from adult males in your group. They move toward the perceived boundary, making loud vocalizations and displaying aggressive postures. This territorial defense behavior is another aspect of your social complexity, involving cooperation among group members and recognition of us versus them. You join the group moving toward the boundary, though you remain slightly behind the largest, most dominant males. As you approach the edge of your territory, you can see the intruders, a small group of individuals similar to yourselves but not part of your established social unit. They might be a splinter group from a neighbouring territory, exploring potential new areas as their own resources become strained. The confrontation that follows is more display than combat. Both groups vocalize loudly, gesture aggressively, and occasionally throw objects or break branches. Physical contact is rare and usually limited to pushing or grappling rather than serious injury-inflicting attack. This pattern of high-intensity display with limited actual violence is a common conflict resolution mechanism among social primates. After several minutes of this ritualized confrontation, the intruders retreat. Your group has successfully defended its territory without serious injury to any member, an optimal outcome in evolutionary terms. The maintenance of exclusive access to resources within your territory ensures better nutrition for your group while avoiding the potentially catastrophic costs of serious injury or death in physical combat. With the territorial dispute resolved, the group returns to foraging, now focusing on finding enough food to sustain everyone through the night. Different individuals employ different strategies, some climbing trees for fruits, others digging for roots or tubers, some searching under logs for insect larvae. This diversity of foraging techniques is another adaptive advantage, allowing your species to exploit a wide range of food sources. Your own strategy this afternoon involves finding a particular type of nut that grows on bushes in more open areas. These nuts are hard-shelled but contain rich fatty kernels that provide concentrated energy. Using a stone as a hammer and another as an anvil, you crack open several nuts, extracting the nutritious contents. This use of unmodified stones as tools, what scientists will later call unmodified lithic technology, doesn't involve crafting or shaping the stones, but it does require selecting appropriate ones for the task and using them effectively. It's a form of tool use that demonstrates your cognitive abilities and problem-solving skills. As the day begins to wane, your attention turns to finding suitable trees for night nests. Security is the primary consideration. Trees that are difficult for predators to climb, with branches strong enough to support your weight but high enough to be safe from ground-dwelling threats. Before climbing to build your nest, you gather a few more fruits to eat once settled. This final foraging of the day ensures that you won't go to sleep hungry, which could interfere with rest and recovery. Carrying food, another ability made possible by your bipedal adaptation, allows you to eat in the safety of your nest rather than being vulnerable on the ground after dark. You select a tall tree with many branching limbs and climb efficiently to a suitable height. Using the gathered materials, you construct your night nest, a platform of broken and bent branches, lined with softer foliage for comfort. The construction process demonstrates your manual dexterity, spatial awareness, and understanding of structural principles. As twilight deepens into night, you settle into your nest. From this elevated position, you can see other members of your group also preparing for night in nearby trees. The distribution forms a loose circle, with more vulnerable individuals, mothers with young older or injured members, often positioned toward the center, surrounded by more capable defenders. The stars emerge in the darkening sky, forming patterns that will remain largely unchanged for the millions of years between your time and that of your distant descendants. The moon, waxing toward full, casts a silvery light over the landscape, creating a world of shadows and subtle illumination. As your body relaxes towards sleep, your mind processes the day's events, the successful foraging, the territorial defense, the social interactions within your group. This cognitive processing isn't the abstract reflection that modern humans would recognize, but it's a form of learning and memory consolidation that helps you adapt and survive in your challenging environment. Your species, Ororinthuganensis, represents one of the earliest experiments in hominin evolution. Your bipedal locomotion, omnivorous diet, manual dexterity, tool use, and social complexity contain the seeds of what will become the human lineage. Not all of these experiments will succeed. Many branches of the hominin family tree will end in extinction, but some adaptations, particularly bipedalism, will prove remarkably successful, persisting through millions of years of evolution. In the darkness of prehistoric night, cradled in your nest high above the ancient African landscape, you sleep, unaware of your place in the grand narrative of human evolution. You are simply living your life according to the dictates of your nature and the pressures of your environment, responding to immediate needs and challenges without concern for the distant future or the deeper past. Yet in your sleeping form lies a potential that will gradually unfold over millions of years. The adaptations that allow you to survive in the challenging environment of ancient East Africa, particularly your bipedal stance, will prove remarkably successful. Over countless generations, natural selection will refine and elaborate upon these basic adaptations, producing a lineage of increasingly sophisticated hominins. The path from you to modern Homo sapiens is neither straight nor inevitable. It will wind through various species, Australopithecus, early Homo, Homo erectus, and others, each with its own unique adaptations and evolutionary experiments. Most of these branches will end in extinction, their particular combination of traits proving unsuccessful in the face of changing environments and competition. But one branch will continue, eventually giving rise to a species that will transform the planet like no other. The journey from Orrorin to modern humans spans nearly 6 million years, a timescale almost impossible for the human mind to truly comprehend. During this vast period, the Earth itself will change, continental positions will shift slightly, ice ages will come and go, sea levels will rise and fall, and through it all, the hominin lineage will continue to evolve, adapting to new challenges and opportunities. Your descendants will gradually develop longer legs and shorter arms, becoming more specialized for terrestrial bipedalism. Their feet will lose their grasping ability, developing rigid arches for more efficient walking and running. Their pelves will reshape to support upright posture, while still allowing for the birth of increasingly large-brained infants. Their hands will become more dexterous, with precision grips capable of crafting and using sophisticated tools. But perhaps the most dramatic changes will occur in the brain, starting from your somewhat enlarged brain, already showing signs of expansion beyond what's typical for apes of your size. The hominin lineage will experience a remarkable increase in brain volume and complexity. This neural evolution will eventually produce minds capable of language, abstract thought, creative expression, technological innovation, and cultural transmission of knowledge. This cognitive revolution will transform the relationship between hominins and their environment. Where you react to your surroundings, adapting to conditions as you find them, your distant descendants will actively modify their world, creating shelters, clothing, weapons, art, and eventually entire civilizations. Where you live within the ecological systems you inherit, they will reshape those systems to suit their needs and desires. The seeds of this transformation are already present in your species, in your bipedal stance that frees hands for tool use, in your omnivorous diet that allows for dietary flexibility, in your social structures that facilitate cooperation and knowledge sharing, in your extended childhood that permits learning and brain development. These adaptations, which help you survive in the challenging environment of ancient Africa, contain the potential for what will become humanity. As the night deepens and your consciousness fades into deeper sleep, the stars wheel overhead, marking the passage of time. Each night like this one, each day of foraging and socializing, each generation reproducing and raising young ones, all are small steps in the immense journey of human evolution. The path from you to modern Homo sapiens will take millions of years and countless generations, each making their own small modifications to the template you've established. And what of the modern humans who will eventually look back and try to understand your life? They will search for fossil fragments, analyze geological contexts, study contemporary apes for behavioral clues, and use advanced technologies to extract every possible piece of information from the scant evidence that survives millions of years. From these fragments, they will construct theories about who you were and how you lived, debating endlessly about whether you were truly human or still too ape-like to deserve that designation. The truth, as always, is more complex than any simple categorization. You are neither fully human nor fully ape, but something unique, a creature of transition, embodying adaptations that represent a crucial experiment in the story of life on Earth. Your bipedal stance, in particular, will be recognized as one of the defining features of the hominin lineage, a key adaptation that set your descendants on their evolutionary path. In the end, the story of human evolution is not about a linear progression from primitive to advanced, but about a branching bush of adaptations and experiments, most ending in extinction, a few continuing to evolve. It's a story of creatures like you, living their lives day by day, generation after generation, adapting to their environments and passing along the traits that help them survive. From these countless small adaptations accumulated over unimaginable time emerges the remarkable phenomenon we call humanity. As we look back across 6 million years to glimpse your life, we see reflections of ourselves in your social bonds, your tool use, your bipedal walking, your omnivorous diet, your extended care of young. And we see differences too, your greater climbing abilities, your smaller brain, your more limited technology, your more immediate consciousness. You are both familiar and foreign, a reminder of where we came from and how far we've travelled. In understanding your life, the challenges you faced, the adaptations you embodied, the world you inhabited, we gain perspective on our own existence. We see that the traits we consider uniquely human have deep evolutionary roots, emerging gradually over millions of years rather than appearing suddenly or inevitably. We recognize that our own species, for all its remarkable adaptations and accomplishments, is just one experiment among many in the ongoing process of evolution. And perhaps most importantly, we learn humility. The story of human evolution reminds us that we are part of nature, products of the same evolutionary processes that shape all life on Earth. Our existence isn't predetermined or privileged, but the result of countless adaptations and chance events stretching back through deep time. Our remarkable minds and technologies emerge from the same fundamental forces that drove your bipedal walking, the endless dance of variation, inheritance, and selection. As you sleep in your nest under ancient stars, unaware of your place in history, you embody the beginnings of what will become humanity. In your bipedal stance, your manual dexterity, your social complexity, and your cognitive flexibility lie the foundations upon which natural selection will build. The path from you to us is long and winding, filled with experiments and extinctions, adaptations and innovations. But it begins here, with creatures like you taking the first upright steps on the journey that will eventually lead to humanity.